Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Hahn, and today we're going to be learning about how you can evaluate a speaker's claims and purpose. So, when you are watching a public speech, how do you evaluate what the speaker's main claim is? What's their purpose in giving that speech? Who are they really talking to? Who's their target audience? Um, and so, we're going to talk about some of these things today and watch an example video. So before you get started, you actually need to use this link to make a copy of the Evaluating an Author's Claims and Purpose Notes. You can find this in two places. First, you can go to Buzz and you can click on the Practice It, Evaluating Speakers' Claims and Purpose Notes, and click on the link in the instructions there that says use this link. Or you can actually open up here where it says Evaluating an Author's Purpose Lesson, read it. This is a copy of the slides that you're going to be seeing on my video. So if you actually go to slide 2, you can just click on the link right there and it will open up the copy for you as well. So you're going to have these notes, and as I go through the lesson, I want you to stop and fill in the notes and, keep a record of not only the important things you need to know for the quiz, but also keep a record of the things that we're learning and do your best to see if you can identify the claim and the purpose. All right, let's get started with our lesson. So we have 2 learning objectives today, and at the end of this lesson, I want you to read these statements and say, yeah, I can do that. So first, I can identify the claim of an argument as well as the purpose of an author's speech. Like, is the purpose to inform, to motivate, to persuade? Second, I can determine who the author's target audience is and what strategies he or she is using to engage that target audience. All right, so again, if you were filling in the notes, you need to go ahead and write down those learning objectives by filling in the blanks here on your own copy. These notes are not graded, but you can use them on the quiz at the end of the week. Okay, here are some important terms that we need to know before we watch our speech. So first, the term target audience. This is the specific group of people who you are aiming to reach with your messaging in your speech. So the target audience can be dictated around age, race, gender, income, or other factors. So for example, my target audience is 7th or 8th grade students, 7th grade students right now. And I want them to be informed. I want them to be interested. So I'm going to try and target that group of people. Main idea, this is the main thing that the speech is about, the main claim, the main argument. We could say the thesis statement. It's the primary idea that the speaker wants you to know. Key points refers to arguments or information, that supports that main idea. So additional points the speaker makes, but maybe not the main point. Now, these are types of speeches and functions of these types of speeches. So the first type of a speech is called entertainment. So the core purpose of an entertaining speech is to amuse the audience and obviously to entertain them. Whether it's artistic, whether it's humorous, we want to entertain the audience. Second is informative. The purpose is to simplify a complex theory or idea into a simpler, easier to digest, less complicated idea. So in other words, I want to convey information accurately and clearly, to you. Third is demonstrative. So think of the word demonstrate. The function of this type of speech is to show how something works or explain how something's done. These speeches may come with some sort of visual aid or physical demonstration. So I might do a demonstrative speech where I show you how to build something, and I might be building that thing or teaching you strategies on video or during the speech. Fourth is persuasive. In this speech, the speaker is trying to prove why his or her point is right, and by extension, influence the audience to embrace that point of view. I'm trying to persuade you this is the right thing to think or believe or do. Now, it's important to remember that speeches usually have more than one purpose. So I am informing you of different ways that you can learn about the speaker's main claim. Maybe I'm going to tell some jokes and try to be entertaining. I'm also going to try and persuade you to do different things, right? So a speech could be informative, persuasive, and entertaining. Here are some other types of speeches and their functions. Next is motivational. This kind of a persuasive speech, this is where the speaker encourages the audience to pursue their own well-being. By injecting confidence into the audience, the speaker is able to guide them towards achieving their goals. A debate. Now, this is similar to a persuasive speech in structure. The goal is to justify a claim or make an argument. However, this speech is distinct in the fact that the motivation of the speaker is centered around justifying their belief to another person rather than the whole audience. So, like in a presidential debate, I am wanting the audience to hear my debate, but I'm really trying to disprove this other person I'm debating right now, right? Finally, artistic is a type of a speech. This delivery method for this type of speech could be in the form of poetry or song lyrics, and it can carry a powerful message using the arts. So poems are artistic, but they also often are persuasive or motivational. So again, if I'm trying to persuade you to stop smoking, I might be informing you of the dangers of smoking. I might be trying to persuade you. I might even be trying to make it entertaining if I'm showing you interesting things or humorous things, for example. So speeches often have multiple purposes and multiple functions. Now, what you need to do right now, since I cannot show a YouTube video very clearly, you won't be able to hear the audio on a screencast. You actually need to pause this video. And then you need to go over to Buzz, and in the Evaluating an Author's Purpose lesson, read it. You need to go to slide 7. And on slide 7, you can click the play button and watch this video. It's about 5.5 minutes. And you're going to listen to this speech that is made by a politician named Stacey Abrams about the power of storytelling. So you need to stop this video right now and go play that video. Or you can just go to YouTube and type The Power of Storytelling by Stacey Abrams, and it should come up. Okay, so I'm assuming you paused the video. I'm assuming you watched the Stacey Abrams speech. If you didn't, go do that because the rest of this video won't make sense. So if you think about the things that Stacey Abrams said in her video, I want you to think about what her purpose was. Was it to inform, to persuade, to entertain, to motivate, to demonstrate, to debate, to perform artistically? I think we could argue there's a few of those things. Take a second. On your notes, I want you to guess right now. So if you haven't already, you have a matching section here where you can match the definition to the type of speech. And then in part 2, I'm asking you to think about what are the important points she makes. So as you watch the video, or if you haven't already, think about the important points she makes and the evidence that she uses for that. Now, let's think about what her target audience is. Or excuse me, not her target audience, what her purpose was. So I think that she had 3 purposes. To persuade. She wanted to persuade her audience that storytelling is powerful and you can use it to help others. Second, to entertain. She was at a dinner. She was hired to come entertain. So she herself was kind of telling stories. And third, really, I think to motivate. She called on the audience to use their stories to do good things. So she was motivating her audience to use their stories or the stories of other people to do good in the world. So she was persuasive. She was entertaining. She was motivating. Now, again, I hope you already did this, but if not, I want you to go back to your notes and write down what you think her main claim or most important message was in her speech. Then what other additional points? So what other important ideas or key points did she also mention throughout her speech in addition to her main claim? Pause the video and write those down in your notes right here next to number 2. Okay, I'm hoping you wrote down Stacey Abrams' main claim. Let's talk about it. So here was her main claim. Stacey Abrams was arguing that it is important to use the power of storytelling to uplift the voices of others and show them that no matter who they are or where they come from, their stories carry power and meaning and purpose. That's her overall main claim. But she did make a few other points. So here are the additional points that I wrote down. She also said it's important to embrace authenticity and truth-telling, even when others encourage you not to. She gave that story of how she was told to not embrace her natural hair and to change her appearance, but she had to embrace authenticity. She had to tell the truth. Second, she said that we must be honest about the challenges of women, especially women of color, and she's faced some of those challenges as a woman in politics. Okay, next I want to ask you, who was her target audience? So who is Stacey Abrams' target audience? What speaking strategies did she use to try to persuade her audience or connect with them on an emotional level? So if you haven't done so already, go to your notes and fill out part 3. What do you think? Then, of course, you can come back to this video and I'm going to give you the answer. So I want you to first see if you know the answer to see if you can guess this correctly yourself. Okay, I'm hoping you wrote down your answer. So Stacey Abrams, at the beginning of her speech, says that she was talking to the Hollywood Reporter. So this isn't one person. This is actually a print and digital magazine that focuses on Hollywood films, television, and the entertainment industry. So a whole bunch of people that like to report on what's going on in Hollywood. So how did she connect with them? How did she make an emotional connection? How did she really target them? Well, she did this by using stories. So Abrams shares her personal stories from her childhood, like her mother and father, and how her father would tuck her in and tell her a story, and how they'd go to the library, they'd watch PBS, and how stories were powerful. So she told stories from her childhood and her career, and this helped people see her human side. It made her appear vulnerable and relatable. So she told, things about how, she told that story of how she was told to change her appearance. That makes her feel vulnerable. When she talks about her dad tucking her in as a child, we connect with that when we think about our parents. Okay. Finally, she was motivating her audience. So, because Abrams is talking to the Hollywood Reporter, she talks about how stories were important in her life as a child, and then she connects that to them. So, she talks about the role that stories played in her career as a politician, and then how each person, including the audience members, they can use their stories or the stories of other people to tell truths and help others and empower others. So, I hope that makes sense to you when you're trying to identify what her main claim was, what audience is she targeting, and how is she using strategies to connect to that audience on an emotional level.